whatever. Actually, to begin with, whatever the jungler that has in the pool side of King Kong, he will make and break it to a point that you will be denied of your movement. And on even on the early stages, yes, you will be aggressed from the side of Fnatic Onyx itself. But on the late game, if you allow that so much momentum to be given to King Kong, that's when you need to be aware that he will go with the Spear of Alpha if he has Alpha on his side. And even if you give him Beatrix as well, he will deny it immediately as well. So those are the things that are very crucial for RRQ Hoshi to be poked out. Now, the question is, we have the prediction leaderboard. I don't know whether you saw it on day number 3, whereby right now on the leading boards, it's definitely Kidian. He is one of the most amazing analysis. He definitely predict the future to a long term, to a point that he is now the leader for our caster prediction. But alongside on the top 2 and top 3 is me as well as
Nanti malam main lah.
Unfortunately, I think that you have
Main
been
dong.
denied a lot of the points for the prediction leaderboard. What are your thoughts on that?
I forgot to predict yesterday. There's just no excuse for it. I just forgot to do my homework, and I lost points because of it. Now I don't know if I'm gonna pass the class. You know, it's not a good feeling. I gotta accept it. I hope that my predictions today are going to help make up for that fact. But it's hard to predict because I feel like our games today are gonna be really.
Enak banget ya bajunya casual anjir.
There are
boleh dong smart casual
and matchups that we really want to keep an eye on, with this game obviously being the start of it all. Like you've already mentioned, the jungle matchup is going to be one to keep an eye on, but I also am really excited about the gold lane matchup, right? Because we have none other than
bagusan Granger atau Link
versus the
sekarang
gold
kayaknya Link masih ya
of the respective regions. It is so fun to watch.
Agree, definitely. I mean,
lampunya di kacamatanya kelihatan
on the
tuh.
state of right now, we know for a fact that the teams, Philippines as
Ini
well
di rumah
as
ya, berarti
Indonesia,
Omkes
their
ya?
meta gameplay can be definitely very, very refreshing to
Wait a minute, bro.
But here and out, okay, I'm happy to see this because our prediction wise, if is either one of us having
2-0
a
RRQ
wrong
kan
prediction
sudah
here for
selesai.
the first match, that means that
I'm
going down, you're going down too,
biarkan saja.
If we go down together, right, guys? In the end, we do still have to play a little bit for the Philippines.
True.
They're the more consistent region, but RQ can surprise us, right? We predicted 2-1 because we expect this matchup to be close.
Sizzlindai baru saja memberikan 100.000 isi kredit.
We are going to see which of these teams have been
Baik, sabar ya. Sizzlindai terakhir di angka berapa ya?
Agree, definitely.
Yang keempat gue taruh di angka 9
go
sekarang.
into the fun fact itself.
Aman.
You know for a fact that Philippines has been dominating FPLs as well. So it's not to put down on Indonesia. They are amazing. They are great at their own gameplay on their meta plays as well. But Philippines, they're very
Bejir, dia isi saldo pengen push rank nanti malam.
Not just on the draft.
Tim dari Argentina ikutnya MPL Latam atau gimana? Gue belum lihat spesifik sih. Bukan Latam ya, Latam ada lagi.
Those are the crucial points that other
Kalian
teams,
Kaito
not just from Indonesia, but other region as well, have been struggling to fight.
Tadi gue liat ada Famos lagi lawan Alter Ego sekarang.
Absolutely.
Terus di stream yang satunya tim Liquid lawan Rebellion ya.
Sometimes throwing a bit of a wrench in their plans, adding a bit of chaos to the mix is what you need to take down the calculations and just make things a little less sane. And I think teams that are known for being more scrappy, being more aggressive, are going to be able to maybe disrupt the gameplay of Fnatic Onyx just a little bit. And I think RRQ Hoshi fits exactly into those guidelines. This first match is going to be a proving ground
Kaito soalnya kan
because
MDL ya.
M6 is right around the corner. The World Championships once again with every single region eyeing to become world champions. And this is going to be the first place we get to witness their matchup and get a bit of a taste of what is around the corner.
Agree, definitely. I mean, this is also a stage whereby they put out a really good idea of what they're gonna actually
Kita
face
lagi di
on
issue
going into
system ya.
M6. It will prepare them on another bigger stage as well. Because here on out, you've already feel how much of a
Besok gue
potential
dapat
that
patch apa
will
ya?
be put out by your opponents, and then coming along, you can learn all the gameplays they've been put out here for the SPS, and it will actually set them up if they do their homeworks, if they know what are the heroes that they need to actually ban out. I mean, talking again when it comes to the metas, right? We've seen already when it comes to drafting wise, the three
Ini ada 3 match
holy
dong hari Minggu.
trinity heroes have still been banned out. You take out Suyo, you take out Jushin, you take out Chip, and even though there are certain times, this is a funny note as well for you, Zafar. On day number
Selesai
one,
tanggal
there were
10 ya.
even a lot of teams
Besok kita mainnya
that
3 match.
despite they didn't actually ban out Chip, they didn't even pick
Banyak
out
banget, coy.
Chip into the lineup of the heroes. Even though
Oh,
we
mainnya
know
3
Chip,
bareng ya.
despite that,
3
after this
bareng.
patch notes,
3
there is a
bareng.
slight adjustment. It's still a really good heroes to be picked out. Do you agree on that?
That is very interesting.
Yeah, 3 match, 3
I
match.
haven't been able to see quite enough of Snapdragon just yet, but not picking Chip just seems like a bad idea. Without
Right?
further ado, though, we're going to be jumping into our draft for
Ada
game
Eva Soli
number
lawan
one.
CFU
Fnatic
kalau mau
Onyx
nonton
on the
nanti.
blue side, RRQ Hoshi on the
Kaito
red
lawan
side, and it
MV,
seems like quite a
Lazy
few
Esport lawan
heroes
Duck.
have already been picked up.
Terus AI, VPX,
Wow,
Rift.
okay.
Kayaknya yang
there
seru
you
kayak
go.
Eva Soli
The
lawan CFU gak
first
sih?
ever heroes to be put as a prioritized is Alpha. And you know, if you have King Kong with Alpha, it's gonna be a danger zone. But
Where there
other
is
than that,
light,
they also picked
there are
up
also
Harith as well as
shadows.
Gato Kacha. Great AoE, great going in for the XP lane as well. Now, RRQ Hoshi, they responded with Valentina as well as Cho. I mean, I know for a fact that you want to make sure that you can
Rafaelanya di ban.
Alpha, maybe with the Ways of Dragon, you can make sure that you
Oh,
can
takut
shut him
if
down
kah?
for a while, but it's gonna be a little bit of risky. But other than that, Xbox with the readjustment as well, you know for a fact that Xbox is
BO3.
also a really good burst heroes that can actually put you down with a lot of damage. So RRQ Hoshi, I like the idea being put out here for the draftings.
Yeah, so far so good with Fnatic Onyx going for the priority on Alpha since Suyo was already banned out. Alpha has been getting a lot more
Astaga,
priority
Rio.
because of his ability to fight as early in the game as possible. RQ decided to respond with a bit more of a safe opening by grabbing the Valentina and the Cho so that they have a way of picking off the Alpha, like you mentioned with the way of the Dragon, but also to deny bigger
Hila
with
kepake ya.
Valentina.
Habis di patch kan.
Onyx did take the Gatot and the Harith. The reason
kita
they
ngeliat
take
ada
these
Hilda
together
ya.
is because the Avatar, the Guardian, is really good at denying Zaman
Ya
Force
live di sini
away.
lah, mau live di mana?
But with Valentina around, RQ can still deal with that somewhat. And the Hilda we talked about earlier going to be picked up for RQ.
Oh, wow. I mean, okay, let's take a look on the band side, okay? We already see Araki Hoshi, great respawn coming in, and Hilda-wise, the question is, can they actually time it very right to actually shut down every movement coming in from King Kong? Because again, with the meta from the side of Hilda, the skill 2 is very useful for the side of Araki Hoshi. If you really mess around with all the resources that King Kong needs, that
Si
would be
Fnatic
really
Onyx
good.
main
On
standar
the other
banget.
side, we do see Onyx picking up Edith, also a really good coming in for the side of Fnatic Onyx PH, and they
Tapi
also
jujur ya,
have
standarnya
Sana
Fnatic
on
Onyx
the
ini
line.
kuat sih.
More
Line up-nya
AoE,
mereka line
much
up
more
standar
going
yang
in
kayak ya udah bisa
control-wise for the
ngebully-bully
team of
pasti.
Fnatic Onyx PH right now.
Mau pakai clean kah?
Yeah, Vexana's basically the only real mid option Onyx has left over since Loi was banned
Clean
out,
dulu.
and Aurora isn't actually very good at dealing with heroes like Cho
Awas yang
and
kiri jadi incaran
Xborg.
netizen.
So having that
Waduh.
Terrified maybe handle the
Black Heaven
Hilda diving
netizen.
on top of you makes a bit more sense, and with the Edith
Wow.
setup, there's good damage potential overall on the side of Fnatic.
Ya,
Onyx,
harga emang benar-benar
RQ
juga buat
Hoshi
ini ya.
going to give Skylar his
Lama ini
classic
hero-hero.
quad, though. So they are leading more into
Kita
late
tahu lah,
game
ini hero
scaling
powernya
and
buat
just
si
expecting
Skylar
the
juga buat klub.
pressure and hold the early
Ini
stages
standar tahun
with
standar.
the Hilda
Yang
and
out of
Xborg.
metanya paling
Oh,
yang
I
baru
do agree
lebih
on
sering
that,
kelihatan
seriously.
terakhir
RQ Hoshi
itu
so
si Hilda
far
yang
now,
muncul.
really good respawn. It's just how they gonna be
Jadi
able to
main standar
control
banget. Fnatic
all the
Onyx gak ada
aggression
draft
that
yang
will be
aneh-aneh,
put out by
bener-bener
Fnatic
standar.
Onyx Philippine for
Kayak
the
pakem yang
time
sering
being
kita
on
lihat
the
regular
early mid.
season
That's
di babak playoff juga
crucial
ya,
point
sama
right
kayak
now,
yang
because
pakai sekarang.
we are going to see the fight between Skylar as well as the fact that definitely King Kong will try to mess things around. The invasion,
Jadi
are
ya,
they going
let's
to
go.
deny it? Will RRQ Hoshi be able to control it wise? And will the help of Edith as well as Gato Kacha on the line, it will boost up even the momentum of Fnatic Onyx. But so far right now on drafting wise, I gotta say both side has a really good potential. This even up for a while for the respawn wise. The question is coming into the mid game, who are gonna be able to stand out? But this is it, guys. This is the first series, the big series of our 2-0 bracket between Indonesia versus Philippines. It is going to be RRQ Hoshi versus Fnatic Onyx.
This is going to be a game to keep an eye on, ladies and gentlemen. As we know, the global series right around the corner. So establishing dominance here in the Snapdragon stage is going to set up that momentum you need for the rest of the year. And I think the drafts that we have here exactly
Brusco guys, Brusco. Lawan mantan.
With this side of Indonesia wanting to go for a little bit more of that early game and maybe set things up, while Fnatic Onyx, we know that they want to be able to take control of that mid game and just slowly tighten the grip around their opponents.
Agree, definitely. All right, so far so smooth. A great cover coming in. I mean, we do see invasion coming in between Susujin as well as Kyler. Kyler are gonna be in the pick right now. Oh, almost close enough to be tagged out, but with a dash, he still managed to survive it out. And we do see at least Brusco is on the like side. Whatever it is, he'll be able to be backed up. But that was a really too close to tell whether or not Hoshi was able to be taken down. Our one Kelra, but nevertheless, he'll still be able to hold the ground, and he had to back away to recall himself.
Sujin, it's expected that he's going to be putting a little bit more attention towards the gold lane here, but in the mid lane, Briscoe taking quite a lot of damage himself.
Oh, coming in, and now we do see the first fight coming in by Kurt, taking down Duran first. The attempts coming in from Duran try to shut down Fnatic Onyx is not gonna be able to do so now. Edok and Vince gonna wait it out for
Nggak bisa
to actually hold it out, but this turtle is already in the hands of Kiko, and now they go pushing in for the spin start. Kiko takes out Edok immediately with the Spear of Alpha. Now pushing straight away to the side of the one and only Susujin, but doesn't.
Terus akhirnya ya pakai Hilda ternyata ketemu dengan si Edit ini bisa dikandangin ya Hilda.
As well as the turtle to be taken into Fnatic Onyx.
It is very much expected that Fnatic Onyx should control the early game with an Alpha, Edith, and Gatot Kacha. It's a lot easier for them to take control of objectives, and they just have generally more damage compared to RRQ Hoshi. For RRQ, they gotta hold the early game and focus on giving as much farm to Rins and Skylar as possible, with the Claude being the more obvious. That's why you're going to see a little bit more ganking towards the gold lane to make sure that Claude wins out against the Harif, because usually Harif is the winner here in this 1v1 lane matchup.
Oh, that's totally agree. And here on out, we do see a 1v1 matchup coming in from Kurt as well as Duran. Airborne comes through, and now Kurt's trying to do it damage as much as he could. But I mean, you're talking about fighting off with Duran. I mean, a lot of the mobility-wise, survival and sustainability coming in from him. It's not going to be easy. Attempts coming in from the side of Kurt himself, but he's still not giving up. But he's got to be careful. Along the side of RRQ, it's going to be Susujin is just overlooking. And it seems that King Kong gets the input as well, and they will deny it as well. Now Rince moving away as quickly as possible before being tagged out. At least a reposition is a good in favor coming in from RRQ, but they really gotta hold off for a while because the aggression then put out by Fnatic Onyx at the moment right now, it's really scary.
Yeah, I feel a little bit bad for Tyrant because when you are on a Hilda, you're usually the one causing havoc and pressure on the map. But because Onyx just has so much early game damage and they're dealing with an alpha jungle, the Hilda cannot actually invade to try and disrupt King Kong. He just has to try and win out a lane priority, which is already kind of difficult against an Edith, so that they can roam and actually stop Onyx from being overly aggressive on other parts of the map. Unfortunately, Onyx not really being stopped by that. They're going to start contesting the turtle against Sujin.
main rapat terus Fnatic Onyx lihat.
Waduh,
Idok meleset cuy. Wah, kepegang guys RRQ guys. Kalau mereka bisa kiting bagus banget, gila. Nice banget Sutsujin. Nice banget Sutsujin. Fightnya bener-bener loh, rapat lawan rapat ya, karena mereka diajak main rapat. Si Fnatic Onyx ngajak main rapat teamfight kan. Xbox itu jadi bagus karena Last Insanity areanya kan ya berasa lah ya.
Fnatic Onyx as at least RRQ Hoshi gets the trade that they needed.
That is exactly what RRQ Hoshi is looking for, and actually a massive win, because up until now I have been mentioning that Fnatic Onyx should be stronger at this stage of the game. They just have more presence and damage overall, but extended the team fight a little bit too far, and RRQ beautifully managed their resources and positioning, playing around the healing being provided by the Revitalize so that they could prolong the fight and then re-enter once Onyx had overextended in the mid lane. Because of that, Sutsujin now has a little bit of an EXP lead against King Kong, and RQ has even up the net worth
Gua gak salah lihat tuh.
Keep the gold
Si
even,
Kirk udah
and Skylar
sebegitu
does
dia.
not die. This game is going in their favor.
Agree, definitely. And a little bit struggle coming in from the side of Darren. This is where no matter how much you try to put out a potential to fight out with Kurt, it's still not enough. And going into the side of Susujin, I agree on the note that now he's actually in a very good advantage. Hopefully RRQ Hoshi can be
RRQ Hoshi ini desainnya mereka buat teamfightnya bagus. Tapi kalau buat farming ya lebih stabilnya tuh dari Fnatic Onyx PH. Nih Rin jangan ke depan Rin, anjir ketangkap lu nanti, serius dah. Jangan Rin, jangan Rin.
To team up right at the top, gonna actually try to give a lot of pressure to Skylar as
Reset
well as
reset up.
will be denied instantly.
Sama RRQ. Infonya kan ada nih.
Good grounding, really good coverage right now for both teams. It's really tie up for both of the teams right now.
Yeah, like we mentioned, gold lane going to get a lot of attention to him, because if Onyx can unlock Kelra and have him start gaining gold from assists, it accelerates their snowball so much further while stopping Skylar. But RQ not letting that happen.
Oh, they're not letting it happen as well. They're contesting for the turtle as well. Darren coming in.
Oh, nice.
Decision takes down and get the turtle instead. But at the moment right now, they will be trying to go in for the scrimmage. Not done yet. Going in for the push to the side of Rins. Rins had to pull away with Susujin having so much damage to put out. They had to reposition, but it's a good move.
Kalau gak ada orang itu udah.
Nice.
Parah sini tim rapat gini. Menang RRQ nih. Menang RRQ.
Coming through and Rin takes down Kilra immediately. Now pushing on straight. Darren doesn't have much damage and they had to pull away. A really good win, but Super Frizz comes along with the trade and King Kong shuts down Susujin immediately with what cost they have. Even though getting the turtle is a 2 trades coming in from the side of Fnatic Onyx, but Darren, he seems like Kurt trying to get as much as kill as possible. He wants to go in for the push, but still
bawa
good cause. They still managed
clear
to
tuh buat
pull away
Skylar
without any casualty, but the trade is still the same for Fnatic Onyx as well as Philippine.
Yeah, that trade initially looked incredible for RRQ Hoshi. Again, beautifully managing their positioning, but this time it was them who prolonged the fight a little bit too far and underestimated the DPS.
Oh, coming in for a fight as a moment right now, we do see Katokacha coming in, but at the same time, it's not going to pull anything with that Avatar Guardian. Team Fnatic Onyx will be able to pull away for those fight, even despite the fact that RRQ Hoshi was not been pulled in. But at the same time, RRQ Hoshi, great position, great respawn wise. So far, they know how to actually have
sama-sama
really
kuat, coy.
between Fnatic Onyx, and that's what is needed. Even on the ground wise, they did manage to actually trade off between the two turrets from the top as well as mid lane.
Menang mana guys?
Team RRQ Hoshi, at least on the cover ground of the map, is still in their
Sebenarnya kalau
hands.
kita lihat ya, mungkin secara keseluruhan ya, RRQ Hoshi ini damage-nya cuma ada di Skylar. Itu yang agak bahaya sih, karena Fnatic Onyx PH mereka punya banyak damager men. Alpha damager, nanti si editnya jadi damager, harusnya dia nanti jadi damager.
The goal difference right now very, very small, only about 1,000 in favor of Fnatic Onyx Philippines. In comparison, RQ will scale way better, and they're gonna play for that timing.
Oh, they're gonna pay from starting. Avatar Guardian coming in for the push. At the moment right now, King Kong had to pull away, but so much damage coming in. But
Overall
Skylar takes down
harusnya.
Sprints
Harusnya
immediately.
orang kita sih, region kita nih kuat banget ya tuh.
Been stuck in the middle, will be taken out by Ito with the waves of dragon. But
Nice.
King
King
Kong trying
Kongnya
to
harus
survive
mundur
with
kan.
the Spear of Alpha, trying to move away. But Riz taking out
Nice.
Kurt.
Ketok dia Diran, ketok dia. Tuker aja nggak apa-apa, 1-for-1.
Shutting him down with the sacrifice a kill, but that's needed already from the side of RRQ just to take down, getting the team wiped out. Desirable in RRQ Hoshi hands.
Fnatic Onyx went for a slightly over-aggressive position around the Lord Pit. At this stage of the game, it's understandable. They still have control, they still have damage, but RRQ, I've been seeing their micro movements, and it has been very, very impressive the way that they're dodging Avatar the Guardian every single time, making use of iframes, and Edok as well, finding Super Prince in the backline and kicking him into the blazing duet, thereby funneling the entirety of Fnatic Onyx into a small area where Skylar can do the most damage. He also now has the most gold in the game. RQ, with a 2k net worth lead now at 10 minutes, are very poised to take this game if Onyx are not able to find an equalizer.
Kalian terlalu jahat.
Now let's see. They're gonna go
Obvious gak di ban ya tadi ya. Tapi emang healnya lagi bagus ya, di buff. Cuman kembalinya Cloud gak diapa-apain kan. Harusnya gak ada masalah sih kalau buat lawan Cloud. Cuman emang buat single targetnya si Fnatic Onyx PH kurang banget. Mereka gak punya sisi pasti. Buset, dicicil abis gak tuh sama Skylar. Cuman modal basic attack ya. Wah, Sutsujin telat guys. Kalau ada Sutsujin tadi kayaknya bisa deh.
And this is the reason why Fnatic Onyx having a really good defense wise so far, and Team RRQ, they couldn't find the opening they needed, so at least on the side of Fnatic Onyx, they still be able to neutralize all the lords and the wave that coming their way.
But they're not able to neutralize the gold advantage. RRQ is now controlling the entirety of the map. They have successfully taken the exterior tower from the side of Fnatic Onyx, leaving only the inhibitors behind. While Onyx is pretty strong as a 5-man death bow, RRQ Hoshi's lineup is designed quite well to be able to split up the map and even play for pickoffs. So they're gonna continue doing so to see if they can bait out individual members of Fnatic Onyx. And if they're able to continue doing that, it's gonna be quite difficult for our Filipino champions.
Let's see. King Kong trying
Granger
to
belum
find
bisa.
a way to
Granger
break
belum
to
bisa.
RRQ. So far, Brusco just waiting for the right time. The fact that RRQ, I like the
Brusco
positioning.
tiba-tiba keluar dari
They're
rumput kan, dari teman-temannya sendiri.
every Avatar Guardian been put out by Brusco, and that's the reason why
2 minggu
it's not in
14 hari
favor of
setelah
Fnatic Onyx
launching.
every time they go into team fights.
Di wildcard bisa
that's
nanti,
the
di wildcard.
motion where we're seeing RRQ Hoshi positioning wise is very important for their keys. Now Kara trying to actually bait out RRQ, trying to actually pull them in, and the best part about it is that Team RRQ, they don't need to worry about anything. They're literally prioritizing on the lane side. As long as they allow those waves come in and keep giving pressure to Fnatic Onyx, it's still gonna be in their favor.
Now, it's a very interesting picture to see here because you typically expect PH teams to always be superior in terms of macro, but because of the draft matchup for this game in particular, RRQ Hoshi are taking care of that incredibly well since all of their heroes are either durable on their own.
Ingat ya, lu orang nggak mau terlalu lama juga main di ESL. Kayak kalau bisa lolos ya kenapa enggak gitu. Karena takutnya kebaca nanti. Datanya sebelum mereka main di M-Series. Alasan jangan lu pernah bingung ya lama cooldownnya.
And that is after baiting out a Purify. Otherwise, RRQ has so many ways of controlling fights.
Going in straight for the ways of Dragon, taking down Kikong. So much damage put out. Spirit Alpha pushing in, try to give as much pressure, but it's not gonna do anything as they pushing into Brusco instead. Getting double kill from the Rise of Rings, but at the same time, Rings is a little bit overextension, had to be shut down by Kara with the Zaman Force. But at the same time, right here, we do see Susujin gonna go in for all the burst that is required, but it's not gonna be enough. That trade's coming in 2-2-1, and they're gonna push it all out to the side of Kurt, as well as going into Kara, immediately shutting him down and going in with the power of wilderness, a little bit of extension to the side of Jiren, but Kurt still survive it out. Prince takes down Edon immediately. This Lord is smashing in a really good overextension, as giving that advantage to the side of Fnatic Onyx, but at the same time Susujin overlooking to the side of Prince, but here on now Kurt picks him up.
Mati Susujin ditembak sama
having so much damage, and in the end
ya pecah pasti nggak mungkin.
Those overextension is giving those potential to Fnatic Onyx to reverse this back, the effect into RRQ Hoshi.
I really like the decision that was made by RRQ to just rush in and try to take out the remaining members so that they could end the game with the Lord. Unfortunately, they went a little bit too far, and Kirk was luckily able to survive with a tiny bit of HP, because if the Eda had gone down, RRQ would have definitely ended the game right there and then. With that though, that does give Onyx a little bit more breathing room.
Mau lihat permainan tipis RRQ gimana. Emang lagi nyoba dia, tapi nyobanya draft standar. Ini draft standar banget. Ini yang sering kita lihat di regular season draftnya.
RRQ should be able to quite easily whittle down the crystal.
Right, 81 seconds to go for the Lord. Is it that they will try to actually push those team fights, or will they
Scalernya belum
actually
kesentuh
try to
108.
go in for the team fights along
Intinya
that
awas,
bot lane? But
silakan
here on
pecah
out,
aja lah.
Edog is just trying
Kalau
to
sampai kena,
overlook. He
silakan
will
pecah
try
RRQ.
to
I'm
find a
done
way
bro,
to actually
I'm
pick
so
it up.
done.
Rinse, a little bit overextension will be denied by Super Friends, and not only that, they're pushing in straight away, giving a lot of damage. They're gonna actually push on for that last turret immediately, but not gonna be doing it a lot of favor. But just need one more push, will be denied instantly by Fnatic. Just one more hit could have actually got that turret, but in the end, Fnatic still giving a lot of pressure, not allowing RRQ to even come in.
Yeah, Skylar tried to go in with the BMI for one last hit on the tower, but we have to remember, in the patch, they updated the tower so that they are just super tanky if you don't have minions nearby. In the past, a single hit would have actually taken that down, but that's no longer viable. Regardless though, I think RRQ are in a very, very comfortable position. Right now, Skylar going to be doing a lot of damage, and because there isn't enough ways for Fnatic Onyx to force out his Purify, he can actually position himself very aggressively without needing to be worried about being CC chained. He has 0 deaths so far, and the Lord is coming up. Fnatic Onyx need this, or they need to at least slow it down. With only one tower standing, if RRQ pushes in with this and a Claude, the game is basically over.
It is coming in right now. We do see King Kong trying to push into Duran, but at the same time, a little bit overextension coming to Edo with the Wings of Dragon. Didn't pick up anyone, but Skyler will be able to take down.
Yang buat susah Fnatic Onyx ya, dari tadi kita lihat, dia tuh pasti diputar Last Insanity dengan Blessing Duet barengan. Jadi gak ada yang bisa kabur karena selesai guys, game 1 selesai. Nice RRQ.
And unfortunately, they will go in straight into the grounds of this site. Despite the fact Duran had to be sacrificed, but it's already a done deal.
Recall Esport yang ngeselin ya. Ya
they will
Evos
be
lah.
able to get this first game in the
Nonton di
hands
mana ya, di
of
sini nontonnya mau di
Indonesia.
mana?
An unexpected result, but one that we already considered as a possibility. Both of these teams are very powerful contenders, and this is just a
One-sided, game 1 one-sided.
they have adjusted after their respective performances.
Tidak ada perlawanan sama sekali. Buat yang bilang PH lagi coba-coba, ya udah coba-cobanya udah selesai nih, berarti mereka harus lebih try lagi. Apakah mungkin start draftnya pakai di Swiss? Belum tahu sih, masih banyak yang bisa dieksplor kan dari patch baru. Karina mana Karina? Belum kelihatan. 8 tim bakal tereliminasi hari ini dari grup 1 sama.
This man just takes over the land of
Kelar.
Agree, definitely. And I like the fact how the overextension was done by Edo. He goes in for the ways of our.
Yang Xbox bagusnya buat adu red pun masih berani lah.
We did saw how Kelra as well as Brusco was trying to survive it.
Coba kita lihat dari hasil yang berbeda guys ya.
It was denied immediately because of Edo
di
himself.
Sisi yang berbeda, Tim Liquid menang 1-0 lawan Rebellion. Famos sama Alter Ego masih berjuang. Terus Aurora dengan Smart Omega juga masih berjuang, masih 0-0 dua-duanya.
All the pressure been put out with those burst damage. That was when they were having a lot of struggle for Fnatic Onyx himself. But taking a look on the side of how it's actually build out after the game.
Intercrown banyak ya. Wah kalau kayak gini mah, siap gak sih kita juara M6? Wih sombong. Jangan nge-jinx dulu ya.
Both of the teams had a potential. Both of the teams was having the traits of they desire. Fnatic Onyx having the early aggression was what put them on a really good lead. But RRQ Hoshi, that the reason why they know what was in the mind of Fnatic Onyx into the early stages, as well as for those team fights where they deny immediately, where they want to actually pull into the center of Fnatic Onyx. That's the reason why RRQ Hoshi just come up top.
Range-nya selalu Starlium ya kalau pakai Valentina. Dari yang terakhir gue lihat juga yang di M series Starlium. Gunanya Starlium kenapa? Karena ada edit di seberang. Kayak tapi pas dia gak lawan edit juga dia tetap beli Starlium ya. Gue gak tahu kenapa sih kalau itu. Cuman di sini konsepnya adalah yang diambil ultimate-nya itu Primal Right. Jadi diambil terus Stardionnya itu ngefek kan, karena attack speednya juga ada dikit lah, lebih besar juga. Ada true damage begitu keluar dengan double dash, basic attack.
They made sure to steal away team fight control every single time. Every time Kirk or Briscoe tries to start the fight, you can see how good RRQ are at reframing the team fight positioning and then re-entering. And that's why heroes like the X-Borg are so good at doing this, all that extra
Skin M series cloud is real.
That you don't really think about really whittles you down.
Yeah, but looking on the damage that deal, Rinse with 77,641 on the back line, denying anyone who tried to pick him up, even despite the fact that there were accountable times that we do see that Kirk tried to push in, even King Kong tried to actually chase after Rinse first of all, but it has been denied by Diren. Diren was ultimately always on King Kong's eyes, making sure that King Kong will not be pushing into the side of RRQ. But the MVP mentioned that needs to be put out here for the first series, first match. It has to be Skylar. 3209 KDA, 857 GPM. I mean, if you give Skylar as a goal laner to have this much potential to get that GPM, it definitely will give so much of the boost and advantage to your own team.
There is a reason why Skylar is called the gold standard. Even though nowadays Claude as a hero has fallen a little bit in usage compared to more popular picks like Natan and Harith, in the right hands it can still cause so much chaos. And this is, mind you, in a lane where he's supposed to be losing early.
Anjir, besok 4 match anjir. Lusa 4 match, gue kira 3 match.
Extra attention onto his lane in particular because they knew that as long as he wasn't losing lane, he is already automatically winning it.
Agree, definitely. And this is where the second scrimmage was coming out. Rings was able to take down Brusco. I mean, despite the fact that
Tenacity basic
shut
aman
down
dia.
the Kara, and Kara tried to actually hold out with the Zaman force.
Wow.
It didn't lock on to anyone that he wanted to because it was denied countless of time by Edot himself. And even despite the fact here, this is a little bit of overextension, but it was necessary. Those are the crucial sacrifices that was done by Team RRQ that they want to actually get it done as quickly as possible, at least get those 2 tourists to be taken out immediately. And they just needed this lot. If they got the lot, it was already enough. And no matter how it is, despite the fact that Team Fnatic
karena banyak match ya, nggak bisa kalau nggak digabung seperti ini ya mereka nggak bakal selesai. Swiss Round itu butuh manpower banyak.
As well as Darren as himself to make sure that the backline will be covered up.
Yeah, unfortunately, Onyx lineup is kind of full commit, not just in terms of team fighting, but in terms of scaling as well. They're not very suited for macro play. They can't split the map. They can't open it up. In fact, it's RRQ who can do that more easily. So with all of these extra tools and very smart early game play to negate the initial advantage that the opponents had, RRQ were able
tenang, kita nggak boleh sombong ya. Kemenangan seperti ini, ya at least menangin dulu deh kalau buat RRQ-nya menang ke round 4 yang high 3-0. Round 4 high 3-0 ini berarti
Agree, definitely.
lolos ke challenge season.
I mean, this is just the first round for RRQ versus Fnatic.
RRQ lolos, ELID lolos, Rora lolos, Famos lolos.
Even better
berarti besok bisa ada
number 2. We're coming up right after this with the short break coming up next, guys.
RRQ lawan ELID anjir. Ini M6 besok kita cari lawan RRQ di sini asik. Bukan, lolos. Ini kan mereka cari tiket buat lolos ke babak challenge season. Iklan. Waduh, gue magernya tuh apa? Kena copyright anjir. Sabarlah, kita nunggu dulu nih ya. Copyright issue found. Baru mulai. Tiba-tiba udah kena copyright. Hari-hari Om Wawa. Day terperangkap dengan copyright. Cuman bagusnya ESL, dia itu cepet banget. So it's okay guys ya. BTR Onyx ID gak ikut ESL. Kayaknya invitation deh. BTR sama Onyx ID invitation deh kayaknya. Buat gue ini Snapdragon Pro Series bisa jadi ajang pemanasan juga nanti buat next season di awal-awal. Terima kasih Galang Valen. Lemon masih di RRQ masih. Kurang RRQ sih ini. Ngeliat gameplaynya si siapa? FNOP tadi. Kayak benar-benar kurang aja dia. Draftnya pun draft yang standar ya. Dan kalau kita bicara soal draft standar, kalau mereka nggak kembangin lanjut lagi, dead end guys. Oh, sampai berapa skornya kalau menang? 2-0 cukup. Siapa yang dapat 2 duluan akan melaju ke babak grup 3-0. Yuk.
And we are live again here for the Fnatic Onyx Philippines versus RRQ Hoshi. First round is done and it is in the favor of RRQ Hoshi. Great micromanaging, how they actually be able to shut down any attempts coming in from Fnatic Onyx into getting that team fights in repositioning. The aggression that it was wanted to be put out was not in the favor of Fnatic Onyx. But coming into the second round itself, will
yang ini beda-beda. Jadi tiap siaran itu ada. Jadi ada 4 stream yang jalan secara simultan atau berbarengan.
They need to not fix themselves too early into a specific playstyle. There is a reason why Alpha isn't typically picked up as a first pick, because while he is a very strong hero and has recently gotten a little bit more attention due to Suyo being banned out more often, Sutsujin is a pretty dangerous jungler in the sense that he can actually transition between more flashy assassins and more utility fighters like that export, right? I'm sure that he'll probably do a similar thing, but because the alpha was already locked in very early on, and we saw them go for a certain style by taking the Harif and the Gatot at the same time to make sure that it was not denied away, it gave a lot of information to RRQ Hoshi to work with, understanding that, okay, this is a lineup that we can outscale with something like the Claude, and then arranging their hero picks to play around that.
Oh, okay, that's a good idea. I mean, yeah, pretty much we've already seen most of the Orthodox picked up. I mean, Harith, Gatut, and those are the things that I think most
Ranger
of the
belum
players
bisa.
have
Nanti di
already
wildcard belum
adapted,
bisa.
and they've already learned how to
Gas
actually
galang.
counter those combination into the gameplay style. But here on out, this is the second round itself. Let's see what are
Gak ada perpindahan ya. Fanny Ben, Chow Ben, Loi Ben, Chip, Chusin, Suyo kah yang bakal di ban? Suyo King Kong serem.
To be the first pick. We got banning wise, we got Fanny,
Link
as
udah
well
bukan prioritas
as,
ya sekarang.
has been
Karena basic attack-nya lumayan lemah banget di early
they
game.
still do not allow Jushin as well as Chip to be picked out.
Unfortunately, Red side nowadays has to take on the responsibility
Suyo lah bang. Suyo atau Hilda?
And many times Suyo as well. not a fun place to be in,
Khalid.
but being able to pick combos together
Dilawan guys Suyonya, dikasih Suyonya sama
Instead
Fnatic
though,
Connect.
Onyx will allow the Suyo
Ambil bang, Suyo bang,
getting rid of
kasih paham Suyo Indonesia.
This is the fine line, like it's a opening for you. Definitely people would definitely pick up Suyo, right? I mean, you already opening up. It's either you picked it up or you will allow those crucial picked up to give it up by Fnatic Onyx. But once RRQ picked out Suyo, how will Fnatic
Indo itu kalau lepas Suyo pasti diambil coy.
Will they actually use the same typical combo? They will actually deny those.
Gak ada masalah, Matilda Alpha. Emang dia mau bawa Popheus Matilda sih. Kalau kata gue kayaknya Popheus Matilda bisa dibawa nih.
Well, now that Suyo has been locked in by RRQ, it is actually safer for Fnatic Onyx to go for the Alpha rather than just blind first picking it before. Because in the first place, Alpha started to get popular again in the meta because he was one of the few early game junglers that could actually match up to Suyo in terms of DPS. Interestingly though, they go for a different option. I thought that they might go Alpha Hilda, but they went for the Valentina instead.
Okay, they went to.
Tapi Hilda emang power banget ya.
But we know
habis di buff kemarin.
If you have Hilda on your side, it's a really good.
Yuk Matilda Idok.
Give you a lot of potential to give leeway for your jungler. And this is what we saw on
Popheus Diren, Matilda Idok yuk. Gas yuk.
Was a menace. He always let Skylar as well as Rins to just Skylar as well as Suzujin to be at anywhere with comfort zone on their own. They don't have to worry much because Darren will always be there to just guard them out and allow them to maneuver.
Wow, oke, saya mau ke WC dulu. Yuk, RRQ game 2. Thank you.
The choices of RRQ, we got Matilda being picked as well as Phoveus.
So the reason why the Hilda pick is actually really good here for Fnatic Onyx with the Valentina is because you would typically want to match Hilda with a hero that's hard to kill, right? So obviously Hylos or Gatot. However, both of those have really important ultimates that the Valentina can steal away. It thereby forces RRQ into something like the Phoveus instead, which they do eventually pick up. And this will allow the Hilda in the EXP lane to get unlocked a whole lot earlier. RRQ has considered this. That's why they go for the Matilda instead, so that they can match that mobility and deal with the Hilda by pulling people away to safety if she goes for the invade. However, with the Joy,
selesai sudah.
It's gonna make RRQ's job a whole lot more difficult because
ada Joy ya.
Tapi
ngapain Joy ada Popheus juga.
CC of dealing with her.
Ini gue suka draftnya RRQ. 3 awalnya udah strong parah. Suyo emang gak bisa kejar Joy, tapi Joy-nya bakal bisa ditekan dengan Matilda. Terus juga ada Popheus. Nah ini Popheus jadi PR-nya buat si Joy. Karena kalau sampai dia miss pakai Rhythm of Healing-nya 1 kali aja nih ya, ditabrak sekali gitu, cancel. Udah gak bisa kemana-mana lagi.
And this is RRQ Hoshi. They still have a map support that they need to be careful on coming into their.
Yo udah kosong yuk, gue udah pesen makan nih bang.
With ban-ups right here, we do see that Farmis as well as Vexana been picked out to be taken out. Vectris also been shut down by the team of RRQ Hoshi on their side.
Paling Harit sih satunya. Tapi kalau mereka pengen keep Haritnya juga gak ada masalah ya. Karena kalau Fnatic Onyx PH kayaknya jungler mereka yang physical sih nyarinya. Clean kalau mau. Clean itu di tangannya Kelra kayaknya sakit banget deh. Kari bukan Clean. Nah, kenapa bukan Harit yang di ban? Simpelnya itu karena udah ada magic damagernya. Junglernya magic, midnya magic. Jadi kalau mereka nambah lagi nih satu, physicalnya nanti bakal kurang banget. Gak mungkin cuma ngandelin dari heal dan physical. Mereka pasti nyarinya physical marksman atau physical gold lane, bukan marksman doang sih.
Yeah, that's true though. So, doing on the side of Fnatic Onyx, I mean, pretty much they don't really have much to worry.
Gue bukan fans kebanyakan Magic sih. Magic. Kalau junglernya physical, Nathan is okay gitu. Tapi kalau mau buka Nathan, ya berarti wajib menang early game nih. Kalau buat Fnatic Onyx PH. Biar bisa kepegang clean lah, paling dekat clean sih buat gue. Clean Cloud, Brody. Okay. Physical kan?
No, are you kidding me? You're picking up Brody? I mean, I know, yes, Brody has been buffed this season or this patch note, but it's not really. It was not really that much of the buff to be given out. The adjustment is not that much on the cooldown. But then again, I don't know. Maybe Fnatic on knows what we don't know now, Steffa.
Brody is really
Gak bisa layak lah, guys, ada Suyo. Pasti dikejar-kejar deh.
He is supposed to be picked up to win a lane, but due to a lot of changes that
Ya udah ambil aja Valentina aja udah
even
diambil
match
ya.
up to heroes like Nathan, Harif, or Clint, right? Or Bruno, for example. So people just don't really pick him up. He got buffed in the recent
udah Cloud
patch
lagi
that
kalau
has
mau santai,
slightly
Cloud
more
lagi.
physical attack growth.
Eudora Mia gak tuh?
Definitely helps him out towards the
Dari
late
Malaysia,
game.
dari
And
Malaysia.
in that regard, he loses out to heroes like Nathan, Claude, Beatrix, and so on. So I don't feel like
Bruno bagus buat single target ke assassin. Nah kebetulan kalau Joy emang Bruno is okay.
Playing him a lot.
I agree. I mean, again, I think even day number 3, we did saw one of the teams, if I'm not mistaken, it should be on the side of Monster Vicious. I think it's either Monster Vicious who picked up Brody to try and error. I'm not sure on that, but there was one team that actually picked up Brody, and it was not going into their side. It wasn't actually what I expected, and that's the crucial point. I mean, like, you try to pick up a hero. I'm not sure what they're trying to pull out into the gameplay style. Maybe because of the fact that patch note, they thought that Brody after the buff it will be better to be used. But then again, on the drafting wise that we are seeing right now, 3 of the heroes have been picked out by Fnatic. It's already a good picks for them. But once they picked out Brody into the match top, I'm questioning what Fnatic Onyx is actually trying to put out.
Ada yang tahu tuh gile. Penikmat sampai negeri jiran dia.
Brody pick was actually some sort of mistake because there was a little bit of glitching going on there. We're gonna wait a little bit on news of that because we're not too sure yet whether the Brody pick was for real or not. We will update you guys in just a little bit. But in terms of the rest of the pickups, I am actually liking Fnatic Onyx draft just a little bit more right now.
Kok bisa dia suka Fnatic Onyx loh guys? Gimana sih? Sabar. Error. UI-nya error.
Agree, definitely. I mean, we are do truly sorry on the side of the drafting phase bugginess. I mean, we're unfortunately not able to actually capture it for a while, but hopefully we'll be able to get it as soon as possible so that we can actually get a full picture of what is it going to be like into this second round of the first series. Will it be on the side of Fnatic Onyx to be able to control what are the response that is required going into RRQ Hoshi? Because so far right now, RRQ Hoshi, let's take a look on the heroes that have been picked out by RRQ Hoshi, right? I mean, they have, I mean, not to say not a good response, but it's those two crucial points where you have Suyo. Yes, it's a meta heroes to be put out, and you have to be careful. But I like the fact that they actually have Hilda to chase him around to make sure that he can actually cover the grounds. And we've seen this already happening in SpS. Open finals, despite Suyo is one of the metas, having Hilda on the opponent side as a roamer, you will be denied immediately of your movement. There are certain times that it's going to be crucial for the side of RRQ Hoshi, how they're going to actually try to get the resources they needed into fighting at that mid stage of the game.
They purposefully manipulated the draft. Without Suyo on the red side, blue side has to pick it up. You cannot give it over to red side when you have it available. Because of that, they get to have the Hilda first, and they also banned out the Khalid instead of Suyo, so that RQ Hoshi would not have their own early game EXP lane.
Error. Aku lagi kerja di tempat lain.
Agree, definitely.
Kok cari Aul di sini nggak cari Om Wawa kamu? Wah,
the play style that we saw on round number 1. This is where we are
Indonesia
seeing
lah, lihat aja nih.
is doing a little bit better on
Juaranya aja udah
calculation
bertukuk-lutuk
on
nih
what they
sekarang.
want to actually portray here into the gameplay. So otherwise, right now,
Kemungkinan
before we even
redraft,
get the complete setup or the setup of the
Belum, tadi
heroes
error
lineup
tadi,
that is going to
nge-glitch.
be into round number 2, so far Fnatic Onyx, I think
Sabar
that
dong Bang,
if they
sabar.
have
Namanya
what
juga
they
error
want
ya.
into the heroes
Adanya
lineup, and besides the
technical
Brody
issue yang
bugginess
tidak
that
kita
we're not sure
harapkan
they
gitu
really
loh.
do picked up,
Jadi sambil
I
menunggu
think
gimana
Fnatic
kalau kalian
Onyx
tinggalin
will
like
have
dulu.
the good consciousness or even control wise into
Thank you
this
ya.
round number 2.
But again, executional difficulty is
True.
there. Joy is not really a hero that a lot of people will have practiced recently, though I'm sure that junglers on both sides would have no problem with it. But it means you've got to draft around making space to get that electrifying beat set up. In comparison, Suyo is just a Swiss Army knife. He is ready to go at any time and has so many tools to deal with. Plus, literally impossible to contest objectives against him because of that soul sever. It does so much percentage damage.
Agree, definitely. And
Kevin besok
looking on the
sebenarnya.
side right now, how team RRQ
Tahan semua tahan. Emang
they
agak lama
are being
sedikit
pushed because
ya.
of
Namanya
that,
technical issue. Mohon
hopefully,
dipahami.
because they've already
Mohon
well known on the
dimengerti.
usage of Suyo.
Yang penting RRQ
Despite
lagi
the
menang
fact
1-0
that we
dulu
are going to
sekarang.
have a fight between the junglers and junglers. There's a possibility if they can actually hold a really good movement, because I do think that Joy on the late game is going to be tough, because Suyo wise, yes, on the early stages, if he will able to maneuver on all of the invasions,
Tahan,
or
yang
even
bilang lama mungkin boleh push up
the
dulu
strugglerness
sebentar ya,
or
push
the
up,
borderlines
sit
that
up,
been put out by Hilda
angkat
itself,
barbel, angkat
maybe
galon,
there's a
semuanya kalian boleh
possibility
angkat.
that RRQ Hoshi will be able to run away with this round number 2.
Ya ampun Alzura.
Yeah, it's hard to say for now though. And based on game number 1, it's already being seen that it's kind of expect the unexpected here.
True.
Because historically, we know IDT is to be a little bit more aggressive early and to go for those snowball fights in terms of
Sambil saya updatein buat kalian nih guys ya berarti ya.
macro.
Aurora 1-0. Woi, Alter Ego menang dari Famos 1-0.
Actually the direct opposite,
Alter Ego menang dari Famos
where,
guys.
Fnatic
Coba kita lihat draft
early
pertama ya. Fanny
early with
coy.
Alpha.
Ada Fanny di game kedua lawan Martis. Wah, Famos sih pakai Martis terus kenapa nih? Game pertama Alpha Hilda, game kedua Fanny buat Alter Ego. GB ya yang mainnya. Wow. Dan bahkan ya, fun fact guys, Famos dikasih chip kalah game 1 ya. Lanjut. Aurora lawan Smart Omega. Joy menang. Joy lawan Nolan. Joy lawan Nolan, tapi ada Chusing juga kalah ternyata dari Joy. Tapi ini yang lagi menang itu ada Hildanya.
This technical pause is because of the fact that we're not getting the feed that we want from our from the side of
Tim Liquid
our,
ada Hilda lagi guys. Kayaknya mereka
right now,
wah beneran cow Favian pakai Joy terus. Favian pakai Joy terus. 3 sama nih. Joy, Hilda, Beatrix, tim intinya tim Liquid ID. Dari semua stream yang main 4 stream yang jalan secara bersamaan, Hilda selalu menang. Hilda belum pernah kalah guys. Semahal itu ya Hilda ya. Game keduanya TL ini seru nih. Angela sama Joy.
Round number 1, they have been successful. RRQ Hoshi, I like the fact that they read Fnatic Onyx
udah main RRQ ya, sabar dong.
Hopefully on round number 2 that could be
gue lagi
also
lihat
another
draft
case
yang lain
of Fnatic
Hilda is very good ternyata ya.
Well.
Terus kalau Alter Ego mereka mainly-nya mereka itu ternyata dari mid laner-nya ya. Jadi mereka mainnya itu di Eve, pakai Eve terus. Ifrora. Rora juga lagi wah.
We are having the people behind the scenes work their hardest and as fast as they can to resolve the
AE masih roundo. Kayaknya iya deh, cuman junglernya doang yang berubah GB. Berapa hadiah juara 1 nggak tahu gue sih. Nggak merhatiin.
Don't worry, game 2 is gonna come back very soon. In the meantime, though, RRQ currently 1 game up against Fnatic Onyx. I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of people out there who didn't expect this result, right? And I'm sure that power scalers all over the internet
ayo stop
before the series is even concluded.
Agree, definitely. I mean, I was actually expecting on our
harusnya TL ID menang 2-0.
Gak ada masalah that
sama
was what
sekali
we
buat
saw on the early 2 minutes or even at the 4 minutes itself, because the fact is RRQ Hoshi,
nah, let's go. Siapanya nih? Wah, Hildanya di kanan, guys. Lah tiba-tiba udah 8 menit gak tuh?
Ooh, and it looks like we've already missed a good chunk of the action, actually. We are nearly 8 minutes into the game. The kill score currently 8-6 in favor of Fnatic Onyx, but the goal score actually not too far
Hilda belum pernah
apart.
kalah sih.
Looks like the
Gawat nih guys,
Brody
kasih
pick
Hilda.
was actually for real, and Kelra has been doing pretty good so far. 2-1-3 score. And ooh, very close to taking out E-Dog there too.
Oh, E-Dog. A little
Anjir,
bit
meresahkan
too
tuh si
aggressive right
Hilda.
now, but he had to pull away. But oh, on the other side, we do see E-Dog trying to
Let's
insert
go,
himself.
Darren.
That's
Let's
not
go,
going to be a
Darren.
good overextension. But Kirk will be immediately be punished by Durin. On the side right now, we do see Kara had to pull away. But King Kong on the side will be shut down by Susujin, immediately getting 2 trades right now. And as we see, it seems like Susujin is not done. He wants to pull another player of RRQ. But on the side of Fnatic Onyx, unfortunately, Team Fnatic Onyx, they're losing those 2 players in the process of trying to shut down RRQ. It's still not enough, but covering grounds on the map wise, look at this. We got 2 of the turrets already been taken out. Team RRQ looking better than ever.
I do wish we got to see exactly what are the moments that led up to this situation, but looks like RRQ Hoshi has been able to reclaim a gold lead, and Susujin getting another Lord. While the late game scaling between these two is not as drastically different compared to game number 1 because there isn't something like a Claude to deal with, I do think that RRQ still has the slightly better late game because Brody doesn't scale quite as well, and with a Harith and Suyo, you actually have a lot of damage to deal with.
Baru mulai udah level 13.
I mean, not only that, you got
Kita startnya di menit 8 tadi, buset kepatil gak tuh kepalanya.
So Team RRQ Hoshi, they're going out for the damage stuff. Now pushing it straight to Kurt immediately. Durin trying to stop his way with the power of Wilderness, but didn't manage to do so as Kurt managed to pull away. Now the Lord will be marching into the lane to clear out the last second turret in the mid.
Kalem.
So far, RRQ looks to be in control of this game. Fnatic Onyx, they do have tools. Valentina and Joy actually do a surprising amount of DPS once they've got a few items under their belt. But Susujin just finished his BOD. So being able to control the fight is very, very crucial. Briscoe going to be the only real form of setup that Fnatic Onyx can play around on that Arlet. But if the timing is incorrect,
King Kong nanti nih,
who did end up going Aurora in the end after Vexana got banned out, will be able to take over the fight.
Oh, King Kong versus Susujin going in for the slash, but doesn't manage to get the knocks that is needed. King Kong still survive it out. Jungler versus jungler, it does seems in the favor of King Kong though, because Susujin had so much damage, but RRQ Hoshi with a really good call out respawn wise, that's the reason why King Kong had to pull away before he's been ganged out. But at the same time right here, another turret to be taken out on the second last tier. So that means it's all out to the last tier of
Masih ada besok kalau mau langsung challenge-nya besok tuh penontonnya mereka.
Looking at the gold leaderboard right now, Susujin right at the very top with Skylar right behind him as
Joy
well.
lagi meresahkan.
King Kong not quite at level
Hilda
15,
ya.
so there is an
Hari ini kita ngelihatnya Joe Hilda semua nih habis patch.
The rotations from RRQ Hoshi are very, very controlled with this Matilda.
Tapi kalian bisa lihat itu Poveus ya. Poveus sama Matilda. Tebel banget demi apapun juga.
So much overextension ended up having him to cause his own half line. But at the same time right here, Zaman Force will not be able to
have jelek buat Baywan. Tapi buat tim fightnya oke. Karena slash 3 kalinya dia itu sedep banget.
Into their own movement.
Tarium, Blood Twins, Holy. Bener sih, itemnya kita bener. War X Hunter BOD. Belum ada yang pakai Melvigan ya? Oh ini Melvigan, guys lihat Melvigan. Ada di Brody. Ini dia nambah. Waduh, Super Friends oke mati. Dia nambah range 15%, itu membantu banget buat si Brody.
Great job coming in with that hailstorm, but at the same time right here, FNOP had to pull away.
Things are not looking too good for Fnatic Onyx Philippines right now. Nearly a 5k disparity between them, 12 minutes in. Malefic Roar just completed on Susujin. And while they do have tools to maybe manage the Suyo, they're having to spend a lot of it dealing with just Dyron and Skylar, both of which have kind of get out of free jail cards because of that Matilda. The way that they're able to dance in and out of the team fights, while a little bit different from game number 1, is showing some similarities. The controlled rotation, really good micro play. That is how they're coming out on top against Fnatic right now.
Agree, definitely. And taking a look on RRQ
Brody
Hoshi
kemarin jelek lagi
doing
di
a
buff
really good
kan.
ground. They're
Ada
looking
beberapa
over
yang
to
di
the
buff
side of
yang
King
mungkin
Kong
cocok buat
E-Dog.
Brody.
Is looking for a
Melvin
way,
Gun
but
nomor
they
1.
pull away instead to go
Terus
in for that two-way
atribut
because
pertambahan
they are
dari
gonna
attack-nya dia
actually
naik 2
prioritize on
per
the wave
level.
as the Lord is already marching in. And seems like
Kalau
King
buat gue
Kong gets
suka
the
di semua
input.
MM
He's
ya,
gonna actually
karena ada
recall back
tambahan
to
range
join into the
15% kan.
team fight. Pushing in straight away on the top right now. Hillsong comes through, does get a hit to Kurt's side, but it's not gonna be enough. The turret is coming in already. First of the trade from the mid lane is already been taken down. But on the side of Kirk, he's looking for one person to try to tag off. But it seems that RRQ will deny it. But stun
Ooh.
comes through, and it's going to be super face to be able to take down Edo. First of all, overextension will be punished. But at this moment right now,
Wah.
we do see the side comes through from the side of
Kabar
RRQ
kabar
to
udah
be
cukup
able to
cukup cukup
hold down
cukup.
that positioning. So
Idoknya
much
terlalu
of the
masuk ya tadi
resources
ya.
been put out, but it's still not enough.
There's very, very heavy pressure on Briscoe right now. That
Kita
final
ajak
slash
brawl
is the
mereka guys.
only real way that
Biar mereka
Fnatic can
respect dengan
really
server
punish
brawl.
RRQ for being out of position. And that was one clear example of it. But they were only able to find 2. That's not quite enough yet.
Brusco.
They're gonna see what more they can take by pushing down mid.
Oh, Turin
mati
will
dia
be
Ren.
picked up somehow. He had to pull away straight away, but at the same time, right here, Fnatic Onyx will be able to take down Durin
Gak ada
with the
ini, gak ada
Kelra to
Matilda
be
guys
pushed
tadi.
out. But at the same time, RRQ Hoshi looking a little bit struggling right now, even though they were in the lead in the first place.
Asal nggak
That is the
overextend.
momentum that Onyx really, really needed. RQ are still fine. They still have a 5k net worth lead. That's just a momentary stopgap in their advancement. But they cannot allow that to happen a second or third time. Briscoe's positioning needs to be paid attention to, and they cannot group out right outside
Terus
the
ini
base
ya,
because that just sets up perfectly
karena itu
for their
item
final
baru, itu
slash.
range-nya Brody jauh banget sekarang.
Fnatic gonna use
Brody udah
this
jauh nih
opportunity to
range-nya,
take as many
ketambahan dengan
snatches
item
as
baru itu lebih.
possible and look to really
Ntar malam
take
gue mau jadi
control
gold laner
over the
ya.
map so that they
Itu
can more
Hanabi
easily
juga
contest
bagus, pengen gue baru
that
sadar.
game objective.
Agree, definitely. 30 seconds on the clock. Lord will be spawned out, and it seems that they're trying to actually push this wave to the side of Team RQ Hoshi. Let's see if it's gonna be in their favor. Spotted out Kirk
Mulai
in the
susah nih guys.
bushes.
Hilda
They
aja
will
gak
get the
kepegang.
info they required. Not gonna allow any invasion or the movement of Team Fnatic Onyx that easily. But we do see King Kong is already right at the top, and they might actually go in for this fight. Already stacking on the Lord, waiting for the time being.
Briscoe, if he can set up a final slash into King Kong and Kelra, that is the win condition.
Udah enggak. Nah maksudku,
But it doesn't necessarily have to be a
kalian kan
big
butuh
flashy
tahu
play
kan
like
Melvin
that
Gun ini
either.
buat siapa aja
You
gitu loh.
picking off
Itu cocok di
individual
Brody
members
tuh.
of
Kenapa?
RRQ,
Karena range-nya kan jauh
maybe
banget Brody.
forcing out resources early, they can still take control of this
Oh
game.
gila Brusco mahal.
Oh, but they picked up, almost able to be taken out a little bit too overextension coming in from RRQ, but still they managed to actually reposition themselves. But right now, Ido try to find a way to take down Prince, but on the other side, King Kong a little bit
King Kong.
overextension. Oh, but he managed
Nice,
to pull away.
kejar,
Able to take
kejar.
down Brusco.
Kasih tahu makhluk ungu.
Takes down Kelra immediately by Susujin, and that's gonna be an opening. But Super
Kejar.
Prince tried to move away as quickly as
Kejar.
possible, but will he be able to do so? So
Kejar.
much damage been put
Udah
out.
cukup
Team
gak sih?
RRQ guys will try to hold it out, even with the shots coming through by Scarlet. Is still not gonna be in the favor, but still
Moskov
that's
ya?
already the enough damage that is needed. But Kurt,
Boleh sih
all
Moskov
by
range-nya
himself,
pendek tapi tetap
trying to
nanggung.
clear out the wave
Kalau Moskov
coming
itu nanggung.
into the mid lane. Not
Kalau
sure
Brody kan lebih jauh
what
lagi
is
ya dia
going
punya
on, but
range.
Kurt now will be joining into the team fight. He tried to finish off the mid lane, but this Lord will be able to clear out to give the opportunity for RRQ
Yang enak tuh
to march
Joey
on
yang
again
sekarang.
into the baseline of Fnatic Onyx.
Kirk definitely doing God's work though. That's basically the only thing that he
Pakai
can
Wishing
try to
Lantern
do
ya?
there, slow down the middle wave. Because if he didn't manage to do that, it would have collapsed
Makhluk
with
pembatal.
RQ at the same time when multiple members were already taken out. And that could have
Bawa
actually
pagoda
been
dia
the
coy.
end of game 2.
Oh,
There's no way
monumen.
that Kirk is going to be able to rejoin the fight after all of that. So dealing with wave management and making sure housekeeping is kept up is the best way to maintain the game state. Unfortunately, because Briscoe missed he did land the flicker final slash, but his team wasn't close enough to follow up, and that's the major thing.
Oh, but Susujin is in a very tough situation right here, but he will be able to take down by King Kong. Now, Fnatic
What
Onyx
the
denying
heck?
immediately two of the players of RRQ Hoshi as well, taking out Rins as well. Even with the Lord itself is already marching into Fnatic Onyx, they don't
Rupanya
have
ini di
enough
rate-nya
of
kuat
resources
banget.
to be put out.
Jangan
So here on out,
Skyler, jangan lihat
seems that
sana
King
gak
Kong
sih?
will try to actually go in. Nope, he doesn't actually try to go into, because that's not a really good position to fight out with RRQ Hoshi.
A bit of a mistake by Susujin there. He definitely should have left. If he was counting the timing, he would have known that the skill 2 of Joy was already back up, and a single hit would have been enough to take him out. And if he's gone, there's no way that Rins can follow up, because the Aurora just has a hard time catching that Joy. If I get that they were probably trying to split push the wave and maybe hold King Kong back from rejoining his friends so that maybe the rest of RRQ could push in with the Lord and end the game. But because they lost 2 members there, King Kong was able to get back, Fnatic was able to regroup, and the Lord that RRQ had so painstakingly gained for themselves amounted to really no advantage on the map at all. And the longer the game goes, the more control Fnatic is able to take for themselves. This Suyo, while still able to do a lot of DPS in the last few minutes, is pretty squishy once you get to that stage, and Joy actually starts taking over with the amount of anti-CC that she can play
Bisa
around.
dapat buff damage, regen, wah gue
agree,
gak tahu tuh, belum
definitely.
lihat.
And this is a
Kan masih
crucial
di
point
advance
coming
server,
in
jangan
from
dibahas lah
RRQ
advance server di sini.
Hoshi. They have to time it right, gotta be careful. And it seems that Brusco is gonna try to find a way to break into the back line of RRQ Hoshi, but it's gonna be Kirk try to initiate it, but they pull away, denying any movement coming in for Fnatic. Super Prince also
Hup,
just
tabrak,
overlooking from the
pukul,
distance, but it's
lompat.
gonna be Duran who try to go in for the initiation, but
Udah,
doesn't manage to do it. Even with the Hailstorm, denies any movement coming in from Fnatic. Try to get that info as much as possible, but Team
Ngeri,
Fnatic
ngeri.
Onyx is all over the place.
Yeah, neither team is gonna look to commit right there. Information is the battlefield right now. As we approach the 20-minute mark, Kirk, his job is just to stand in front, provide scouting, and see where RQ is. Briscoe, despite being on an Arlet, actually wants to stand back so that he can come in at the opportunistic time,
Speaker
get a
Bluetoothku
quicker
mana
final
ya?
slash, and put RQ out of position. The best case scenario, if they've already spent resources trying to dive into Fnatic Onyx. That mistake has already happened to them once. I highly doubt it'll happen again. It's gonna really come down to how well Fnatic Onyx can control the map and split apart the members so that they get a false sense of security that maybe they can start a fight.
Oh, agree, definitely. I mean, looking on the side right now, they are great in positioning wise. The RRQ not allowing any of the backline comes in, even Fnatic also not giving any of the space to come through. But here on out, we do see Dirin going for initiation again. Everyone comes through. Brusco right on the pick, but doesn't manage to connect the dot as quickly.
Yang serem
as
Kirknya
possible.
guys.
And
Ini
Fnatic
Hildanya
Onyx
bisa tiba-tiba
pull
kalau tuh.
away as quickly.
Bisa
And
tiba-tiba
now,
keluar gitu.
Team RRQ Hoshi, they want to get this slot immediately done.
Nice, parah. Usir aja yang jauh.
They're gonna try and control
Sabar,
the Lord
sabar,
Pit
nggak
right
bisa.
now. Fnatic
Nice,
Onyx right
Diren
on
sih the
edge.
best ya Diren
And
ya.
the fight starts again.
The fight starts
Nice,
again.
parah cuy. Gak ada Kelra cuy.
That Zaman Force will deny it of the movement, but he'll be able to take down Brusco as well. Pushing into King Kong. Darren going in for the power for the fight off the side of King Kong, but doesn't manage to push through. But Super Friends brings back check out. Overhex doesn't come through, but Susujin will be able to take down by King Kong. But now, Team RRQ, they want more. They're going to try to push into Super Friends. Going in with the Hailstorm. Doesn't connect the dot. Skyler try to push away, slowing it down for the movement. Hailstorm again, and managed to take down
King Kong mau nyanyi, King Kong mau nyanyi.
2 more plays to go. King Kong right in the open. They're looking for a way. Tyrion try to slow him down. Goes in for the slash. Doesn't manage to slow him down. And
Itu lagunya nggak perfect note kan?
just try to do as much damage as they could. But they want to finish this off already. Kirk comes in for in the fight. In between, he tried to survive it up, but Riz takes him down. And now 1 more play to go. Goes in for the team wipe out. And this is the end as RRQ Hoshi wins the series with 2-0.
Such a good example of taking advantage of opportunities right in front of you.
Alter Ego menang 2-0 loh.
Best to hold their position to maybe steal away some resources.
Boleh nih Alter Ego Rondel.
RQ was able to identify that
MVP pertama Rondel, yang kedua Owen. Wih, luar
for an
biasa.
angle, and if we can jump on Kelra as well as King Kong at the same time. Then
Capnya ada
we
di sebelah
have them
Aiza.
on the ropes. After that, it's all a matter of chasing them down because they just have so many ways of doing so, especially with Matilda, Suyo, and Harif.
Nice try buat Fnatic Onyx PH ya.
Really
Kurang satu langkah buat RRQ Hoshi buat main di challenge
pick
final.
Unfortunately, it was a 2v5 at that point, and the game was basically over. RRQ defying the odds and taking a clean sweep against the Filipino champs.
Wow, I mean, I think we did not expect this coming from Indonesia. I mean, we do know that for a fact it could have gone into a 2-1. It could have been going on to best of 1, but RRQ Hoshi, that was it was amazing
Matilda
how
Pove, guys,
discipline was, how they managed to control every movement that was coming their way and denying all these stunts that's been put out by the team of Fnatic Onyx. Let's take a look on the aftermath of what was happening into this round number 2.
Kalau mental masih upgrade sama Legend PH. Ini kan masih anak muda kan jatuhnya. Makanya gue bilang kayak paling dekat buat kita cari juara M Series ya itu sekarang. Karena mumpung wakil-wakil dari negara lain juga ini banyak yang baru.
So that they can break Fnatic Onyx front side, so that they will be denying anyone either side, whether Kirk, who's trying to pick top, it was actually been pushed away by Duran. So RRQ Hoshi, they know how to actually strategize and not allow Fnatic Onyx to come through.
Yeah, I like the idea that Fnatic Onyx went into the draft with, what I mentioned earlier, with them banning out the Khalid, giving away the Suyo so that they could grab Hilda for themselves, while not allowing any of the big EXP laners because they had a Valentina. Up until that point, I actually really liked the inclusion of Joy as well, but then the Brody came out, and I feel that that does lock Fnatic Onyx in a little bit in terms of what options they can play with. And if they were able to get an early snowball on Kelra and King Kong, then it would have absolutely worked out fine. But I feel like the Matilda may have slipped their minds a little bit. Extra mobility and early game presence that this hero provides a team like RRQ is just too big to ignore.
Agree. I mean, like, with a really good late
di
game
offline
as well,
beda
I mean,
offline dengan online beda ya guys.
allowing
Ini kan
the
banyak
fact
online.
that Matilda wise, circling eagle, having a really good movement to maneuver from one end to another end. Those are the things that are crucial coming into the win of RRQ Hoshi. But Skylar as the MVP right here with the 7 kills and the damage been put out by King Kong. I mean, he did his best. He tried his best on the because we were denied on the 6 minute or even on the 7 minutes of the game. It could possibly seem that on the early stages, King Kong was the one who ultimately was able to
guys, dikit lagi nih like-nya sampai 100 yuk, di like dulu. 5 orang cepet.
We do see that team RRQ as a whole, they were able to manage.
Ya, moga-moga M6 masih begini aja lah PH-nya. Ini udah kelihatan satu kalah nih ya. Ingat, ini juara MPL PH ya, online sih tapi ya udahlah. Menang is a menang. Terima kasih nih, like-nya tembus 100. Thank you guys. Katanya ya King Kong masih tetap kuat meskipun di pressure, dia masih bisa ngasih dan bahkan yang paling besar nih di antara teman-teman yang lain. Cuman gue ngelihatnya ngelepas Suyo buat lawan Indo enggak banget sih. Suyo itu udah party kematian cuy.
But they've also kind of adapted a bit of that traditional PH macro into their toolset as well. And it's just a very oppressive experience.
Agree, definitely. I think pretty much on the fine line of the drafting wise, I mean, yeah, you talked about how Brody was a little bit conspicuous to be picked out by Fnatic Onyx for this round number 2, but Skylar, again, as the one and only gold laner right here, he's top of the map right here for the first series itself as the
Fishing Lantern, Feather, Starlio,
5 KDA and 733. I mean,
apa itu
talking
sepatu?
back again, right? During the early stage, and I think this could be one of the highlights that we didn't get to see because we were denied on the 7 minutes. And we see how the movement, right? They got the title first of all, and this is the fight we see. Most of the engagement was coming in from the side of Fnatic. First of all, they were able to control all the movement, even despite Kurt was taking down A-Dog, and we did saw that Fnatic Onyx was already leading to 8-5 for their kill points at that time. But this is where the fine line where RRQ Hoshi was able to shut down every of the movement.
2-0 udah guys, tidur tenang,
Really
tidur tenang.
nice movements coming in here. The moment that Briscoe was able to catch them once with that final slash, we saw that RRQ took measures to make sure it never happened again. And while there were some individual mistakes, like here Sutsujin deciding to try and continue the fight to whittle down King Kong, it didn't quite work out, but the game still went very much in their control. After the next Lord fight, Onyx were not able to find the engagement that they needed, and it gave RRQ Hoshi a clean victory.
A clean victory for our first series. Indonesia will be so proud right now as
Tapi ngelihat gameplaynya kita yang memang game time-nya di bawah 15 menit, wajar gak sih?
Champions, but not to worry.
Wajar gak sih bisa menang-menang gitu?
RRQ as well as FNOP Onyx, they are
Roll
on
server di bos.
0 bracket, which means they still have one more lifeline to go. Only for RRQ, for the FNOP Onyx right now, they will be in the bracket of 2-1, and they'll be meeting off with the rest of the teams who are also in the same odds for their fights to continue here for the SpS Open Finals. But RRQ, they're gonna have a little bit more hardship on the side of their journey because they're gonna be in the bracket of 3-0 to continue that win streaks.
Kalau menang sekali lagi lolos ke babak main
It
final.
means that they're gonna be facing the real toughest of toughest remaining teams here in this competition. And I imagine a lot of the teams that are gonna be dropping down to that 2-1 bracket are gonna be a little bit scared of the fact that Fnatic Onyx might be right beyond the horizon. But we've also got some of our results for the games in other streams.
Wow, I mean, on the other streams, we have the BM streams that is covering for the Alter Ego versus Team Vamos, and it seems that Alter Ego was able to take down Team
Tuh, hasilnya
Vamos
dari
in
stream yang
their
lain ya.
own bracket. And
Ayo udah menang 2-0. Wih, menang 2-0 semua anjir.
Still have one more
Enggak sih, salah,
lifeline to
sorry.
go on their scene. So
TLID seri. TLID kalah sama Rebellion.
trying to actually survive for the next bracket.
Oke guys,
So
kalian nonton aja dulu ya.
for them,
Bubar
but
yang di sini
unfortunately
nonton ke
for that
stream
stream,
ESL Indonesia
we are
karena
gonna
mau
say
makan dulu. By the way, TLID kalah dari RBL, gue gak tau kenapa. Kita harus cari tahu bareng-bareng juga. I'll see you guys for the next stream.
It does definitely seem like